Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today it's all about desserts. Oh yes, so we're going to be talking about ice cream and bananas and whipped cream and sprinkles and cherries, and we're going to be creating our own sundae. So today we're taking a look at Sundae Split from Renegade Game Studios. This is for 2 to 5 players, takes about 20 minutes to play. One player is going to be splitting up the different sundaes and everyone else is choosing, but you can't always see what's in your sundae. And we're going to be doing a rules school, so I'm going to teach you how to set up and play the game so that you don't have to read the rule book faster, and you can jump to any section below in the description where I put all the timestamps. So let's get started. Sundae Split is a set collection game for 2 to 5 players where you'll be collecting different desserts. You'll be collecting full sets of the 3 different ice creams. You'll be multiplying cherries by the one that you have the most scoops in. You'll be gathering points by each of the ice creams themselves. You'll be scoring points by having the most or second most of the bananas. You'll also be getting points by matching whipped cream with sprinkles. But watch out, because nobody likes vegetables. That's not dessert. You get minus points for all of those. You'll be selecting those cards from different piles, and you might not always know what's in each pile because some cards will be flipped over, so you never know exactly what you're going to get. And when you're the one splitting the cards up, you're trying to keep people on your toes by possibly putting good or bad things face down. Hopefully you'll have the best sundae once everything is totaled. To set up, first find these 3 cards and separate them from the deck. You have the setup card, the round sequence, and card counts. The setup card is going to help you set up the game depending on the amount of players. On the top right hand corner it shows you the amount of players. So if you're playing with 5 players, you'll shuffle all these cards and then you'll remove 3 cards at random. If you're playing with 4 players, you'll shuffle all the cards and remove 8 cards at random. If you're not playing with 4 or 5 players but playing with 2 or 3, flip that card over. With 3 players, shuffle all the cards and remove 20 at random. With 2 players, you're first going to go through the ingredient deck and remove all cards that have a 3+ in the bottom left-hand corner. Remove them completely from the game. Then you'll take the rest of the ingredient deck, shuffle them up, and remove 12 cards at random from the game. The object of the game is to collect different sets of cards. For example, have the most bananas, or have sets of all 3 flavors, strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate. Pile up a lot of a single flavor and match it with a cherry, and match whipped cream with sprinkles. The game is played over multiple rounds, with each round having 2 phases. First, the splitter will take the amount of cards, depending on the players, and split them into a certain amount of piles. Then, during the choose phase, each player is going to choose a pile to keep, with being able to see some cards, but not all of them. You'll randomly decide a start player. That player will start as the splitter. They will take the entire ingredient deck, and they'll take the round sequence card, making sure that the number of players that you're playing with is in the top right-hand corner. If it's not, flip the card over. In this case, we're playing a 4-player game, so this player will draw 10 cards, and they'll split them into 4 piles, with 3 of the cards being face down. We'll be going right into the split phase. Now remember, when splitting, use this round sequence card to know how many piles and how many cards face down. There's always going to be exactly as many piles as there are players in the game. And one other rule is that you must have at least 1 card in each pile, and no pile can have more than 4 cards. That's regardless of how many players are playing in the game. Then, starting with the player to the left of the splitter, they're going to select one of these piles. When they do so, they're going to reveal all the cards if any are flipped down, and then they're going to put all these cards in front of themselves face up. It's best to keep the cards grouped by category in front of you. So in subsequent rounds, as you get more cards, it might look something like this. Then each player, one at a time, going in a clockwise order, will select a pile, keeping in mind you can never look at any of the face down cards. And so as players select, card piles start to disappear, until there's only 1 final pile left, and the person who was the splitter is forced to take this pile. In this case, they would then flip this over and take it into their side. Once the splitter has taken the last stack of cards, that splitter will then pass the ingredient deck and the round sequence card to the next player to the left. That player becomes the new splitter, and you'll play rounds just as I mentioned before. However, if at this point the ingredient deck is empty, the game is over and we'll go to final scoring. At this point, you'll grab the score sheet and then find something to write with, because you'll be keeping track of all the players' scores on this sheet. We'll go through scoring now, but it's always good to have the scoring reference next to you. It's page 6, which is the back of the rule book. First, let's look at bananas. Whoever has the most bananas will get 10 points. Whoever has the second most will get 5 points. If multiple people tie for either of these levels, then all players tied get the points shown here. You must have at least one banana to score any points. Next, we'll score the cherries. To do that, you take the amount of cherries you have and you multiply them by the flavor of ice cream that you have the most scoops. In this case, I have the most strawberry scoops because I have 3 cards. Each card of the flavors are always 1 scoop, regardless of the number that you may find on the upper right of it. So 1 cherry times 3 strawberry would be 3 points. And so if I had a second cherry, it would be 2 times 3, 6 points. Next, you'd score 3 points for each complete set of all 3 ice creams. In this case, I have 1 set of strawberry, chocolate, vanilla, so that's 3 points. But if I happen to have 2 sets of each of the 3 ice creams, I'd have 6 points, 3 for each set. And if I added 1 chocolate to that during the game, I'd still only have 6 points because there's only 2 complete sets of strawberry, chocolate, and vanilla. Next, you'd score each set of sprinkles and whipped cream, and each of those sets would get you 5 points. So here I have 1 set of sprinkles and whipped cream, so I'd get 5 points. Because there's not a second whipped cream, the second sprinkles does not get me any points. Next, we count up the points on all of the ice creams that we have. It's easily seen by looking at the top right of all the 3 flavors that we have. I add all those up, and in this case, I'd have 13 points. Lastly, we'll subtract points for vegetables. And if I just add up all of the numbers on the top right, I see that I have minus 7 points. Once you've finished tallying all the scores that we've just gone through on the score pad, you simply add them all up. Whoever has the most is the winner. If it's tied, the player with the most ice cream scoops wins. If it's still tied, you share the victory. Now that you know how to play, keep in mind the card counts card that we took out at the beginning of the game. This will show you for a certain range of players how many cards of each start in the game. That'll give you some more knowledge, but keep in mind that some cards are randomly removed at the beginning of the game, so you can never be 100% sure what's in it. Well, I hope this helped you dive right into Sundae Split and get to the fun much quicker than you normally would have if you were to read the rules yourself. Now, if you have further questions about the rules, I've placed a link in the description of this video. That's the best place to put them because not only will I be notified, but so will the publisher.